Well, even at the tail end of the Patriots season, we are still arguing Cam or Jarrett Stidham. I'm Mariah, Janos, joined by Evan Lazar. Evan, at this point, what do you think is holding the Patriots back from making the move to starting Jarrett Stidham instead of Cam Newton?
I think it's two things. One, all season long, Jarrett Stidham's been the backup cornerback for the Patriots, and he's been taking most of his reps with the scout team, with the team going up against the Patriots starters on defense, getting them ready with the game plan and running the opponent offense. So he hasn't had a lot of reps in practice in recent weeks running the Patriots offense. So I think that there has to be sort of a decision from obviously the top down with Bill Belichick to say, okay, we're now going to make Jarrett the starter and get him starter reps and get him first team reps with our offense and our game plan and our install and go from there. It's not just as easy as, well, Jarrett's been practicing the same plays that Cam's been practicing all year, so let's just turn the keys over. So I think that that's the biggest sort of hesitation here, is that maybe Jarrett Stidham hasn't had a ton of reps in practice in the Patriot offense, and it hasn't had a ton of experience yet in the Patriot offense. So moving towards him and getting him ready for a game isn't as simple as, well, just put him in there and see what he's got.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair, but at this point, like, what do they have to lose? You know, that's
nothing, because there's no explanation other than just the logistics of how many live reps has Jarrett Stidham really gotten in the Patriots offense at practice, with Cam being the starter for the past 3 months. What has he been able to do in practice outside of scout team? Other than that, there's really no argument in terms of what to see out of Cam or anything like that. Maybe they're thinking that they want to see, does Cam get better here over the last couple of games? Do we have a future with Cam in 2021? Is there anything that we can pull out of this chemistry-wise, build some momentum into next season? That sort of thing. But I don't know. It's we're reaching here. We're reaching to find reasons to keep Cam Newton in there. I think it's more just a timing and a logistical thing of figuring out how exactly they're going to make this switch.
Right. Patriots Press Pass is presented by Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping using the code PressPass20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com using the code PressPass20. Take the leap and join the Manscaped movement today. Now, we talked about this earlier in the season, Cam's future in New England. And at that point, it kind of seemed like they'd keep him around for another year, maybe a couple more years until, a more suitable quarterback comes along. But as this season has progressed, I almost want to say that doesn't seem like the right move to keep Cam around. But what do you think in regards to his future in New England?
Well, I would like to prepare Patriots fans for the reality that there's a very good chance that Cam Newton is back in that quarterback room next year, because I think the biggest reason why is similarly to their offseason last year, unless you hit the home run in free agency or via trade with a quarterback and you land a Matthew Stafford or you land a Matt Ryan or somebody of that quality, then really what's the difference? And then you start to kind of get into the dollars and cents of it too. If you can get Cam Newton back on a 1 or a 2 year deal for low money, is that really a worse route? And then obviously draft a guy and try to upgrade through the draft at the quarterback position for the long term. Is that a worse avenue than paying an Alex Smith or trading for a Marcus Mariota or somebody like that that's probably at the same level at this point as Cam Newton and is going to make a whole lot more money than Cam? So in reality, the likely option is that the Patriots are going to go into next season with their veteran player in Cam Newton, some guy that they draft at some point in April, and then just kind of go about it the same exact way that they went about it with Cam and Stidham in this summer. That just seems like the most likely outcome. That doesn't mean that's the outcome that's going to happen. But again, unless you're getting into these sort of dream scenarios where they find a way to get a Dak Prescott here or a Matt Ryan here or a Stafford here or Aaron Rodgers or someone like that, and we're talking about pie in the sky dreams right now, unless those things happen, then you're probably looking at, well, Cam's the cheapest, most cost-effective option, and let's just draft a quarterback and go from there.
I mean, even if they do draft a quarterback, at any point, do you see Jarrett Stidham being the starting quarterback for this team ever?
I think that if Jarrett Stidham had what it took to be the starting quarterback of this team, he'd already be the starting quarterback of this team. I mean, it's not like Cam Newton has played very well this year at really any point in time other than the first couple weeks of the season. And then he's had some games here or there where he's certainly been better than others, against Houston, against the Jets, against Baltimore. Those were acceptable performances for sure. But in terms of what we've seen out of Cam on the whole, if they thought that Jarrett Stidham was going to be an upgrade or be somebody that could be a viable starter in the NFL right now, and they would definitely have made the switch. I definitely believe that. And with Stidham, the things that you hear are basically just sort of complacency and just kind of like a passive attitude where he doesn't really want to take the job. He's kind of okay with being Cam's backup, still kind of being the understudy, still kind of learning things in the NFL and just sort of going through the motions and running the scout team. And there isn't this sort of, drive or this will to really want to become the starter and want to become the guy. I mean, maybe he says that on the surface, but they don't see it and it's not tangible enough for them to make that switch. And I don't want to compare him to Brady by any means, but when Brady came in here in 2000, he said, this is going to be my job in a year. I don't care if I was drafted in the 6th round, like this is going to be my team. And he had that attitude from day one. And I just don't think that they have felt that from Stidham.
And it's so interesting to hear about that sense of complacency because before Cam Newton was signed, all people could talk about is, Stidham's getting reps in with all the receivers. They're meeting up at this field. They're getting ready. He's posting on Instagram. He's ready to go. He's ready to be the starting quarterback for this team. So it's really interesting to hear that there seems to be just that lack of drive and that okayness with being the backup.
It's definitely weird too, going back to just his history as a player. This is a guy that, when his year that he was transferring from Baylor to Auburn, he went to high school practices at his local high school and was running scout team just to get reps against live competition. A guy that was apparently someone that, was the first one in, last one out in his college programs and in his high school days and worked really, really hard. And I know there's been a lot of sort of pieces looking back on his kind of origin story that have gone into detail about how much drive he has had in the past. But like I said, the Patriots just haven't seen that take the bull by the horns type of attitude and that want to really drive Cam Newton out of that starting position. And if you don't see that, then, that's something that I think a lot of coaches really want out of their starting quarterback is that fire and that tenacity.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge factor. For all of our Patriots coverage, head to clnsmedia.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel over at Patriots Press Pass.